how is it done 90s style? So first thing you need to know is that you need to know guitar theory in order to know how to play punk rock. So, lesson number 1. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. What is do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do? Well, there you can't really see the re. That is C. So the do's are C's, and then it's D, E, F, G, A, B. Okay? I mean, super simple. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. All the natural numbers. Now, C in this scale is a major note. Oh wait, that's a D. Just for reference, my guitar is tuned down one whole step, okay? So anyways, so a power chord. In punk rock, you use power chords. So power chord goes like this. Root, if you got the strings of the guitar, the E, A, D, G, B, E. Okay? Nut, it doesn't really have to even be the nut, okay? It could just be, you're gonna have a power chord, it's gonna look like this. Okay? Oh wait, I'm stupid. Scratch those out. That's why I drew an extra one. So it's going to look like this. And it consists of a root, a fifth, and then the octave of the root. Okay? It can be played either with the root on the E string, or it can be played, let me draw it over here, E, A, D, G, B, E. Now, it's important that I show you me drawing this out because you need to know that you need to draw it out too. Root, fifth, root. Okay? So they look exactly the same. One's got a root on the E, one's got a root on the A. Guess what? That shape goes anywhere on the E. And anywhere on the A. That's a different shape, but anyways. Now remember, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So, it's important that you know both the power chords. Why? Well, what else? The additional thing you need to know is that you can figure out all these power chords if you know the scale. And remember, if it happens in one octave, it can happen in every octave. So you really only need to know by heart one octave. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do. Because from there, it's just the same thing up in another octave. So if you can't tell by using your ear that this note and this note are the same. Now this is very important because sadly, some people can't tell. Okay? But if you can tell that this note and this note are the same. If to you you're like, yeah, it's the same note, just one is the next one up, but it's the same. Look, some people can't tell. Okay? They're tone deaf, they don't know. But if you know, that means you got that music gene. Okay? So if you know what an octave is essentially the same thing, then you've pretty much intuitively learned to understand the root of almost all of music theory. Okay, so if you know what an octave is, essentially, without being explained it, then you can do anything you want to do in music. So here we go, punk rock. So if you know, some of that was not power chords, but what was it? It was do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and essentially just moving one note, the bass note, around and playing a melody using do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do up on top of it, but still using the punk rock rhythms. So in any style of music, you have a few different things. You have the types of chords that you're going to use. Like in blues, it's mostly like dominant chords, like you're not going to be able to use that in punk rock. In metal, it's like harmonic minor chords, like again, that's not a punk rock thing. In country, again, you have some more of that. That's like the blues thing. So let's talk about, so what is it then? It's this. It's do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's the simplest form of music there is. Now this is 90s punk rock, okay? I'm not gonna go into the 70s and the 80s. You know, they were still trying to figure it out. They didn't know whether they were rock. They didn't know what they were, okay? They didn't know if they were like some kind of funky Devo thing. But eventually you hit the 90s, the heyday of punk rock in my opinion, and you had a bunch of excellent bands come out in all different types of genres. And I liked most of them. Okay, some of the stuff I wasn't too into, but you know, like the boy band type of stuff. But you know, I like some Blink-182. So don't get me wrong. Don't get it twisted. I like a lot of different kinds of music. So now that we know this is the simplest type of music there is, I mean seriously. Pieces of punk rock, okay? It's the thing that brings it all together. And anytime you're doing rhythm, for one thing, you're 99% talking about your right hand, so never neglect your right hand rhythm skills. Second thing, you really got to think of it like you're playing the drums, okay? Like, listen to punk rock drummers. What do you hear 99% of the time? And you're doing the same thing with your hand. So I'm going down, down. I'm really doing a lot. I'm doing as much down. You're stroking downwards as fast as you can, and if you have to do up, then you do an up. Okay? So it's like. I think that little right before the da-da, the first one is an up. So I'm trying to just keep it down as much as possible. So really it's. So that's all down. So a lot of those in-between notes that you heard different from that first rhythm I did, those are all ups. So this is all the downs. No, that's not all of it. Here it is. So you want to put the emphasis where it goes in the middle. It's almost like a beat that comes from country. rhythm is super important. Remember, punk rock is always fast. I mean, if it's slow, they're probably not playing their best song, you know. And you always gotta consider delivery when you're thinking about punk rock. It's not something that people sit there and well, if you're like me, you might just sit there and sip your cup of tea and listen to some hardcore punk rock. But for the most part, the delivery is supposed to be really active, just totally crazy, off the wall, and people are supposed to really enjoy what's going on there and be real lively and be doing like circles and all sorts of stuff, okay? So tone, even a major 7 chord can sound like punk rock, okay? Now let's talk about tone. Punk rock tone is not metal tone. Don't be scooping out the mids, okay? Don't be using no dang EMGs, okay? Solid body's fine, but you have to have a really present mid-range tone, okay? You can't be scooping everything out and making it sound like super high gain. As a matter of fact, this is as high a gain as a punk rock tone. That's too high, okay? That's too high. I don't even know why it's so high. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. It's seriously that simple, okay? Watch Sound of Music. It's literally that simple. Power chords. Just pick 3 of any of those, and as long as you finish on either the C or the A, it'll sound right. Now check it out. Oh no. Pick 4. Pick 4. Punk usually does 4. It doesn't do 3. I mean, it can, like... right? But generally it's 4. So listen to that. So that's like some Blink 182. And that's just the exact mean, like, I would say 95% of punk rock. There's one melody that will go inside of any punk rock riff, okay? And trust me, I've been doing this for over 20 years, and since the beginning, I have clearly noticed that this melody fits over the top of any punk rock riff. So if you're playing some chords and you're wondering whether or not it's going to sound punk rock, this is the melody that you need to sing to yourself in the key that you're in. And if it fits over all your chords, then you know it's probably punk rock. And what the melody is one that kids used to sing in the 90s when I was a kid. And that goes like this. Na 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 na. Okay? So in the key of C, that's G, E, A, G, E. Okay? So that is in the key of C. Now what about this? Like, okay? So that's the melody to look for when you're playing your chords. Let's say you're in the key of G. Whoa, that doesn't sound right. Okay, so that's a little play on the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's for an advanced lesson. Okay, those chords right there. Those last three chords, those go to a whole nother level, man. And so that's what you gotta learn, is that once you've learned punk rock, you can apply all the other things that you've ever learned about music in general and apply it to punk rock, because that right there was this. That was the melodic minor, just in case you were wondering, but that's for a whole nother lesson. I hope this helps, inspires you, gives you a sense of rhythm. Remember, you got to follow the drummer and be the drummer with the right hand, okay? It's as simple as do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, but at the same time, you got to know do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. You can't get around knowing that. You're not going to know where to find the chords. All the power chords, those two power chords right there, can be put on any of the notes in the scale that you're in. And if you do it with the right tone, and you follow the scales, and you remember, na 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 na, you can create a punk rock sound that sounds like it came straight out of the best time out of punk rock out of the 1990s. Okay, trust me, I was there, I heard it, I remember hearing it for the first time, I remember recreating it in my bedroom over and over. I actually learned to play guitar by sitting down and learning every song by ear on the MXPX live album. And it didn't just teach me how to play guitar, it actually taught me this. I learned this from listening to the record, the punk rock record. It's a very simple form of music, but it teaches you a very basic lesson. And that is, once you know the basics, you can do whatever you want with it. And if you got all the pieces together, the rhythm, the melody, the key, and the tone, then you're doing it. You're the one making it. You're contributing to the body of music in the world. And have fun with it. Alright, see you next time.